It's the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com. Tom Leach along with Jim Goodman, Keeneland's director of simulcasting. Going to do something a little different for a while, see how it goes to take one race and dig a little deeper. It's going to be the 10th race on the Saturday card at Churchill Downs, the Grade 2 Mrs. Revere for 3-year-old fillies going a mile and a 16th on the turf course. And we're going to analyze the race, give you some wagering strategies, and take a look at the late pick 4 as well. And then we'll also give you a pick on the feature up at Aqueduct on Saturday. But, Jim, we've got a full field here in the Mrs. Revere, and you've got horses that several horses that have some nice accomplishments. Chad Brown's got a couple in here. How did you see? Start with just how did you see the Mrs. Revere as the horse you're picking to win?
Yeah, I want to have a turf race one of these days that Chad Brown doesn't have at least 2 horses in. It seems like every time we talk about that, it's Chad Brown's got 2 or 3. The other day he had one at New York he had the 1, 2, 3 horses, I think. All the inside horses. So, yeah, he's probably going to win it. But I don't know why I even handicap it. But I actually have a strong opinion in this race on one of the Chad Brown horses, and that's partisan politics, the 11. And I think we do need to talk about it a little bit differently this time. Instead of just doing a pick forward, giving our picks, we want to talk about how we would play the race with our own money, and I'll go over that a little bit. I think partisan politics is a strong bet here. I think that race at Belmont, the mile Pebbles $200,000 race, Castellano's been riding this horse almost her entire career, and she was very impressive there. She tracked the speed and just drew off by a length and a half, and this race sets up perfectly for her, I think, stretching out to a mile and 16th. She hasn't run at Churchill. That's the only thing that I don't really like, but she's gone to Belmont, Santa Anita, Saratoga, pretty much taking her races everywhere with her. So she's getting better right now with a second Saratoga race and a win in the Pebbles. So I like partisan politics. Nearly won the Grade 2 Lake George at Saratoga. Got beat by 3/4 a length, finished 4th to Mrs. McDougal and feathered, which is no shame in that, and ran behind Lady Eli last year at Santa Anita. So partisan politics is my pick here. And what I would do is I would try to find some value, because 4-1 is probably, she's going to be 3-1 or 4-1, something like that. It's a big field. I would key her on top and second. I think there's a real good likelihood she's going to run first and second here. So I would key her with 6 horses in second and 6 horses in third. And for a 50-cent trifecta, that's only $15 when you go 6 by 5 by 1. And then I would turn it around and key her second, another $15. So for $30, if she finishes first or second, then I would use 6 horses in the second leg. And if you want to spend more money, go all in the third leg and catch a bomb. That would be great. But I narrowed it down to 6 other horses, the 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 in here. It's Robillard, Return to Grace, Prado's Sweet Ride, which is my price horse at 12-1. And then Divine Ada, Onus, and Kath Ballou. I don't think this 20-1. Somebody made the wrong morning line here. If she goes off 20-1, I'm going to take some money on her. So I can't imagine she would go off with Lake Peru there for McPeak and almost won the Raven Run. So I think she's going to be more like 5 or 6-1. But I would use 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 with 11 on top and 11 keyed second. That would be the way I would play the Mrs. Revere.
I'm going to take the other Chad Brown, and the reason is for me it was probably more post position than anything. I like the 5-hole better than the 11. Tammy the Torpedo came out off a long layoff and ran a lifetime best buyer fig of 88. Ought to improve off that. I like that they reach out to Florent Giroux for Big Breeders' Cup. He really rides the turf well, so I like the jock selection. This horse had a really nice workout on the 8th of November. And I think partisan politics is a little more accomplished, and a couple of others are in Stakes Company. So you'll get, I think, probably every bit of the 5 or 6-1 on Tammy the Torpedo. So I would play a win bet if you can get, say, 5-1 or better on Tammy the Torpedo. I mean, she won first out at Saratoga, which always indicates the horse has a pretty good amount of quality. Ran well in the Grade 3. They sent her out to the Breeders' Cup, and she beat about half the field behind Lady Eli. Didn't run bad from a bad post, and then lays off and almost a year comes back and wins impressively. So all those things, I think that's a nice price. Return to Grace is a horse I like a lot, 10-1, I think, on the morning line. I think that horse has got a big shot could win or certainly to finish in the money. So, and then after that, partisan politics, you got to use Robillard, Onus, Reina de Batteria, I like as well for a little bit of a price play, 13 for Graham Motion. So I'd play a win bet, and then I would play two different 4-horse exacta boxes, and you could do for a $1 box, it'd be a $24 total bet. I'm going to use Tammy the Torpedo and Return to Grace in both boxes, so it would be 5 and 2, and then I'll say use 7 and 11, Onus and Partisan Politics, and then I'll use 5 and 2 and 13 and 1, Reina de Batteria and Robillard. So basically betting that Tammy the Torpedo and or Return to Grace is going to be first or second, and then I've got other options to fill out the exacta. So two different exacta boxes, but keying the same 2 horses in 2 of them. Kind of an unusual way to play it, but I just had a tough time narrowing it down, and I didn't want to do like an 8-horse exacta box and get too expensive.
I would like to amend my trifecta to include your horse, Tammy the Torpedo. So I would use 7 horses behind my 11.
Yeah,
so
and it doesn't cost you much more at 50 cents.
It'd be $21 instead of $15.
Yeah, and mine would be, I think, $24 total for two boxes of 4-horse boxes of $1 tickets, and then if you play like a $5 win ticket, you're at $29 there. For the late pick 4, I'm going to use just Tammy the Torpedo and Return to Grace. This thing was, you could get a really big ticket here, so I had to narrow it down somewhere. So I'm going to take a stand with those 2 in the second leg. I want to use 5 horses in the first leg. I like Go Navy Go, but the 10, but I also want to use the 12 Hot Squad, the 8 Hard Labor, the 3 Z Royal, and the 9 War Stroll. I could see any of those winning. In the third leg, the 11th race, I think Macho Gabacho I like a lot. This horse had a wide trip last time going long at Keeneland. That was not where you wanted to be. So I think that race is a little better than it looked. And I started to single that one and spread more in the stake. But I'm going to take that one, the 11 Matchup, the 9 Coomer, and the 5 All That Brass. Go 4 deep in there. In the last leg, I'm going to take a stand with Papa Bravo and Sandhill Sammy, the 6 and the 2. If you want to go one more deep, I'd go the 9 Brett Park. How about you for the late pick 4?
I'm going to do 2 different tickets, and I do like Macho Gabacho. He was my, my top pick in the 11th race. But I'm going to do 1 ticket. I'm going to use 4 horses in the 9th. I'm going to use the 5 Sawyer's Mickey, the 9 War Stroll, the 10 Go Navy No, and the 12 Hot Squad, who would be my top choice in that race. So 5, 9, 10, 12. Singling Partisan Politics, the 11 on 1 ticket. Using Macho Gabacho, the 1, the 6 Grateful Life, and the 9 Coomer in the 11th, so 1, 6, 9. With the 1, 6, 11, Montage, Papa Bravo, and Mountain Cry, 1, 6, 11. That's a fairly inexpensive ticket, 4 by single, by 3 by 3 for $18. And I would come back and use the same horses in the first leg. I would cover the stakes race with 7 horses, the 7 horses that you would have used in the trifecta wheel, which is 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 11. With singling Macho Gabacho and then the same horses in the last leg, 1, 6, 11. So I would do 2 things. Maybe I'd hit it twice if both my singles would come in. But I like Partisan Politics in the 10th, and I like Macho Gabacho in the 11th.
Okay. Yeah, so you got 2 chances to hit it twice with Macho Gabacho or with Partisan Politics.
Right.
I like that. Aqueduct, let's take a look at the 7th race, the Grade 3 Red Smith Handicap, going long on the turf, 1 mile and 3/8. I took the 9, Mr. Maybe. Improved first time out for Chad Brown. There's that name again on a turf race. Horses 1, 2 in a row. A little bit of a price, so if it sticks, I kind of like that one. Holiday Star, who won here at Keeneland, Charming Kitten, would use those 2, and Mr. Speaker as well. But the 9 would be my key horse, Mr. Maybe. So I'd play Mr. Maybe to win, and then use exactas 9-8 box, 9-10 box, and 9-7 box. How about you?
I went with the back class. I like Kygun here. I think it sets up well for him to stalk the pace at 1 mile and 3/8. He comes off 2 Grade 1s, including a loss to a couple of Breeders' Cup horses, Leah and Monty Elise, and obviously in the Woodbine Mile, I think he ran a great race that day, and there's no shame in losing to those horses. I also like Mr. Speaker, the 7, War Dancer, the 3. I could make a case for the 9, Mr. Maybe. But the horse that I think might sneak up here is Iron Power, the 5. Ran the best race of his life at Aqueduct last year. Could get an easy lead here. And sometimes these long turf races, when you get an easy lead, it's hard to pass them. And he could take him a long way. And Iron Power is going to be a price here. But I would take Kygun on top, Iron Power in a secondary role, and maybe key him on top in a saver trifecta. So I would go 6 with 3, 5, 7 with all, and then 3, 5, 7 with 6 with all, and then all with 3, 5, 7 with 6, trying to catch the trifecta here.
All right, that's how we see it for the Red Smith, and then an expanded analysis on the Mrs. Revere. You can tune us in each week for the In the Money podcast, as we'll continue taking a look at stakes races around the country, and we wish you best of luck. Keep your Keeneland Select account, of course, fully funded so you can take advantage of the opportunities if you're off somewhere else on a given Saturday. Best of luck this weekend. For Jim Goodman, I'm Tom Leach, and this is the In the Money podcast.